Avengers Secret Wars is, of course, the big endgame level event that we are building up to here with the Multiverse Saga of the MCU. So we're all kind of, making the obvious comparisons. Avengers the Kang Dynasty is like Infinity War. Avengers are probably going to lose, and then they'll come in a year or two later with Secret Wars. They'll save the day, and this will be the endgame of the Multiverse Saga. But, obviously with delays going on right now and a lot of kind of just reshifts in focus at Marvel Studios and really all of Disney, and I think actually all of Hollywood and all comic book films overall, but specifically at Marvel and Disney with, lately it's been a focus on quantity over quality, and I think they're really starting to reshift their focus more towards quality over quantity. And so we've seen a lot of shifting in release dates. We've heard a lot of delays. And so, obviously I remember the original announcement was that both Avengers the Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars were going to come out the same year in 2025. That was an insane idea in the first place, and there's no way that's going to happen anymore. I think currently Secret Wars is said to come out the next year in 2026, but still I kind of doubt even that is going to happen. But on top of that, it has been rumored lately that we may not be getting just Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, but the Secret Wars, this is going to be a movie that is so big, it might end up being split up into two different parts, two separate movies, which is interesting because it's different from how Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, those were originally announced as Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2, but then the titles were just changed. This is different because even though those were called Part 1 and Part 2, Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2 were still different movies. They were still Infinity War and Endgame. They're different entities. And, both Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars are going to be different entities, but I feel like if this is true, both Secret Wars, they'll be the same movie. It's going to be so long, they're not going to give us a 6-hour movie. At least I doubt it. So this has been a real possibility that we've been talking about lately and we've been hearing a lot about lately. And now, many scoopers are confirming that this is the case, that, Marvel Studios has been contemplating, making this decision, and that it's now, according to, I believe his name is Alex Perez, it's official, and Secret Wars are going to be split into two separate movies. And there was a leak a couple weeks ago from the Marvel Studios Marvel Studios Spoilers subreddit, which now no longer exists because Marvel Studios literally shut them down. It's kind of a funny story. But there was a leak from them originally saying that this Secret Wars Part 2 movie was going to be called Avengers Forever. And so that's what we kind of been going with here. And I think it makes a lot of sense. Again, everything we've heard about Secret Wars, it's going to be a big movie. Both these movies, Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, are going to be big movies. But particularly, Secret Wars is going to be a big film. And also, if you look at it, it's kind of weird how we're just jumping right straight into these movies. Where, like, in the Infinity Saga, we had 4 Avengers movies. The first 2 were, like, regular, kind of small scale Avengers movies that just took place on Earth, and then we got to the big scale Infinity War and Endgame. But here, the next Avengers movies are literally jumping right straight into the Endgame of the Multiverse Saga. So I think spacing it out a bit at least and making it 3 Avengers movies, I think makes definitely a lot of sense. Obviously they're still working on writing these projects, so we don't know all the details, but it just makes sense. And again, when it comes to delays, we could probably it's looking like it'll probably be at least 2 years between Avengers Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars. Let's say 2025 for Kang Dynasty, 2027 for Secret Wars is fairly likely. That is, if Kang Dynasty actually comes out that early, we'll see. But I feel like if we do a Secret Wars Part 1 and Part 2 or Secret Wars and Forever, those definitely could possibly be back to back. Again, it just depends on the filming schedule and how they get all this stuff done. But I think this sounds like a good idea. It definitely makes a lot of sense, and I like it. So, anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about this news that Avengers Secret Wars is supposedly going to be split up into 2 separate movies, and it may be called Avengers Secret Wars and Marvel Studios Avengers Forever? So thanks so much for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video and hit the subscribe button so I can keep you up to date on everything that goes on in the Marvel life.